Greetings, YouTubers, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts Variety Hour. It is Saturday, July 5th. It's approximately 6:30 p.m. and I have a few things on the bed that we're going to go through, and the dogs are here, Hannah and Heidi. We're in chill mode. We're going to try to get this in before the fireworks start popping off here shortly. So in this video, I'm just going to kind of randomly show some things in my collection just to kind of keep content on the channel. So otherwise, if you get out of the algorithm, not that I'm ever really in the algorithm, but your channel can get forgotten pretty quick. So I just want to try to keep it at least a little bit relevant, and try to keep, even if it's just filler material, I want to try to keep videos going on. So I got some steelbook box sets here. I got some really cool variety box sets that helped me get through the pandemic. And I have some Anchor Bay tins. I have some signed comic convention comic books. And I have some graded Vampirella slabs from the original run from this, what was it, the 70s. And we're joined by Miss Hannah and Miss Heidi. Everything is apparently, at the moment, everything is completely calm, but we had a really rough night last night with the fireworks, and like I mentioned, it's going to only continue, and it's going to happen probably shortly. Probably before the video is over, you'll hear explosions in the background, and the dogs will be trembling and running around the house panting, and it's pretty frustrating. So anyway, if this sounds interesting to you and you want to check these box sets and stuff out, please stick around, get yourself a beverage and a snack. Let's check these out. If you don't want to, fair enough. There's a lot of other great channels out there. Enjoy your weekend. Another thing too, I have the fan. It's pretty warm here in Wisconsin today. It's pretty warm and humid. And I have the fan on just to kind of circulate some air. I do have the air conditioning on too. I'm going to test the footage here in a couple minutes to see if that's interfering with the sound of the video. Hopefully it's not, because I would like to have that forced air feeling on me. But anyway, let's jump into this first box set here from Blue Underground. This was the Blind Dead collection. These are some of my favorite box sets, and these are just kind of randomly pulled. I'm trying to have a variety of things to show today. Most of these, if not all of these, I have shown before at one time or another, but like I said, I just want to kick out a video here. So we have Tombs of the Blind Dead, Return of the Living Dead, The Ghost Galleon, and Night of the Seagulls. I really like these movies. These are Spanish horror movies, zombie movies, and comes in this really nice box set. One of my favorite box sets. This was supposed to be pretty limited, but I think everybody has this one. I don't remember what it was supposed to be limited to. I believe it was like 10,000 or something. I thought these were numbered, but I'm not seeing a number. Maybe it's on the inside, I just don't remember. Comes with this nice lid, coffin shaped box, and looks like there's a security tag in there too. And each of the movies came in their own keep case, so you can see the artwork there on the top. These look really, really nice. And it also comes with a documentary from Armando de Osorio, who is the director of the 4 Blind Dead films. And it comes with a booklet called Nights of Terror. These movies are very low budget, but there's a certain charm to these that I really enjoy. I remember renting these on VHS when I was a kid. But I mean, you can tell that the makeup and the special effects, everything was done on a shoestring budget. But to me, the Blind Dead, they're called, or the Night Templar zombies, whatever you want to call them, I'm trying to zoom in here, or try to not zoom in, but I just don't want it to be so faded like that. But I thought the zombies were really effective in this movie. Sometimes simplicity wins, I think, and that's the case with this. You don't really need to have much more than this. I have a bust of one of the blind dead Templar Knights in my living room that I ordered from a Etsy seller. It's pretty cool. I have shown that before too. Maybe I'll do a quick little insert after this and show you that really quick, and then we'll continue on. But these movies are far from excellent, but if you're an old horror head like myself, I'm sure you've seen these, and I'm sure that you enjoy these too. These movies are from the 70s. You can tell they had an influence on King Diamond, I think. Probably had an influence on a lot of different filmmakers over the years. There's what the bust I have looks similar to that, and I'll do a little cutaway here in a minute to show you that. This is a really, really cool series. If you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. Now, there's the director, Armando de Osorio, and this is a documentary. It comes in a little slim case. These are DVD. You can see some of the extras. You get the Last Templar documentary on writer-director Armando de Osorio, Unearthing the Blind Dead interview with de Osorio, and Farewell to Spain's Night of Horror. These are in Spanish, and they do have English subtitles. Here's Tombs of the Blind Dead. These covers are amazing. It's a case where the cover's better than the movie, I'll admit it, but these are still fun, and that's a great cover. (1971). There's two different versions of the movie. You can get the Spanish version, which is 97 minutes, and English is 83. So 14 minutes cut, that's very significant. And I like the clear cases where they show the chapter stops on the inside. Really nice. So that's the first one, Tombs of the Blind Dead. Next one is called Return of the Evil Dead, and not to be confused with Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. This has nothing to do with that, other than it shares a similar title. This is part 2 in the quadrilogy of the Blind Dead, and this one came out in 1973. It says it's more brutal and bloodthirsty than the first one. Part 3 was called The Ghost Galleon. This one was pretty fun. It took place out on the sea, the haunted sea, in a ship. This one had a really good atmosphere to it. 1975, unrated, 90 minutes. And the last one, part 4, Night of the Seagulls. Every cover is amazing. Just look at that castle in the background. And the undead riders. And this one came out in 1976. Calling it the final chilling chapter. Unrated. 89 minutes running time. So that is the Blind Dead box set. If you haven't checked those out, I do recommend it. They're cheesy fun. Popcorn movies. This is the Blind Dead bust that I bought from a seller on Etsy years ago now. I'm actually gonna contact him and see if I can get another one made. And I'm gonna have a red beard instead of, this is kind of like a grayish brown. I want to get one with red. And I mean, I can probably do something myself. I mean, it's not hard to glue hair on, but this is a pretty cool little bust I got on Etsy, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. Well, since this is a variety special, we're gonna jump around a little bit, and going from horror, now we're gonna go to classic 60s and 70s rock. And this is a great box set called the Midnight Special. This was put out by Time Life. And I think this is the complete comprehensive box set. It's the 11 DVD set and includes 130 songs and 5 hours of bonus materials with interviews and featurettes and stuff like that. And in this set, you get artists such as AC/DC, Aerosmith, you can read there along, Van Morrison, there's stand-up comedians, Steve Martin, Billy Crystal, Richard Pryor, bonus interviews with Peter Frampton, one of the greatest ever in my opinion, Peter Frampton. And so much great music. And I grew up watching some of these when I was a kid. And over the years, they had released a couple different sets of this. But I believe this is and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there may be a bigger set than this. But as far as I know, this is the biggest set of it. And I don't know if it's the exact complete series, but here's the bonus features disc. We'll just kind of flip through this really quick. But this is the one with interviews, Frankie Valli, Todd Rundgren, Casey and the Sunshine Band, REO Speedwagon, and there's just some great music in here. Music was a huge part of my, and it still is a huge part of my life, but especially when I was a kid. Yeah, so, I mean, what's not to love about music? I don't listen to music, I feel music, if that makes any sense. Music is a huge part of my life. Here is, what are they calling this one? This is a 3 DVD set. This one has Hart, Santana, Linda Ronstadt, Van Morrison. All this music I grew up listening to. My parents used to listen to all this stuff, so of course I did as well. It's got a swing tray with a couple discs on there. This is great to pop on and just have it on in the background, whether you're watching it or listening to it. It'll put you in a mood. This one comes with, it's kind of a fat pack, and it comes with a kind of a foil slipcover here. Star Vista in conjunction with Time Life, if you can see the logo there. These came out in 2014, but I know that they were releasing these years earlier. I don't know why it's having a hard time focusing here, but they were releasing these as like single discs in like multiple volumes. And I think, like I said, I think this may be the most comprehensive set now, but maybe they have a different one, I don't know. But here's a bunch of swing trays here. So much great music. Disc 6. You know what? So this is weird. I just noticed, I think I noticed that last time too. It's a 6 DVD set, but if you look in here, they give an extra swing tray and it looks like you're missing 2 discs. But I do have 6 discs here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get some really good, you get the Bee Gees, John Denver. This is like a period piece. It's like going back in time. There was some Jim Croce on here. There was early Cars. That's one of my favorite bands of all time, the Cars. The Doobie Brothers. Some really, really excellent stuff in here. Jim Croce did some stuff. And this is a great box set. I would recommend this to just about anybody. And I think you can get hours of entertainment from this. The next box set here is the Halloween trilogy. This was the latest trilogy that came with Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends, and I loved all three of these movies. I wanted to get this steelbook box set. I think it looks really good. I like these movies a lot, and I was sad to see it end, but the franchise is not over. I like these box sets too because they come in this nice kind of a shiny tin. It's heavy, it has a little heft to it, and on the inside is kind of a hard rubber foam that houses the steelbooks inside and gives them good protection, and it's a really nice, solid, high quality set. I like these movies better than the original series, save for part 1. Part 1 and 2 and part 3 were good, but anything after that was pretty much trash. And I liked Rob Zombie's remakes too. So let's see here, where are we? This one is the first one in the trilogy, Halloween. This one is limited to 5,325, and I got number 642. And these movies are 4K / Blu-ray, so you get 2 discs. So there's the 4K, there's the Blu-ray, and there's Michael in the background, lurking. If I had the digital codes, I would give those away, but I think I may have given those away already. Next one is Halloween Kills. Really nice steelbooks. These are fingerprint magnets, though they're has a glossy finish, but they look beautiful. And of course, again, you get the 4K and the Blu-ray, and you get an image there of Michael killing a firefighter. And the last one, Halloween Ends. Blu-ray. I was happy to get this box set. I don't know what it's going for now. I got it when it first came out. I was lucky. I think I may have paid like $50 for it when it first came out, maybe $60, whatever the asking price was. But I'm sure these are sold out and probably a little bit more now. So that was the newest Halloween trilogy on steelbook. There's another steelbook box set here. This is the Harry Potter complete 8-film collection on Blu-ray. This is not 4K as far as I know. I'm pretty sure this is just Blu-ray. It is. I bought this a few years ago, so I do think there is a 4K box set like this now, but if you don't get it early enough, it's very, very expensive, and I'm not gonna hunt that down. But you get all 8 movies, so you get Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows 1 and 2. This was a great series. I really loved it. We were spoiled for a time there because Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter were all very new right around the same time, and that was excellent viewing. Fun for, you know, adults, kids, families. So let's take these out and take a better look at the steelbooks. Before we pull the steelbooks out, I just wanted to kind of show, this is a very similar case. Looks like there's one stuck in there still. I don't want to ding these. You got to be really careful. But it's the same type of a design. It's got a kind of a glossy metal finish, and on the inside it has kind of this hard rubber foam, and it's really sturdy. There's a little weight to it, and it's a little dusty. There's some sticker goo on there. I'll get that off later, but this thing is in really good condition. I remember I bought this at Best Buy in the store. I wasn't even looking for it at the time. I was looking for other stuff, and I saw this there was one left and it was sealed, and I snatched it. This was pretty expensive. I don't remember what it was. It was probably like around 100 bucks or a little more, maybe 120, 130 maybe, but it's definitely worth it. And here are the steelbooks. So this is Sorcerer's Stone, Year 1. Comes in that nice blue color. These are a matte finish, kind of a dry finish. No fingerprint magnet. And you get, it says the movie and creating the world. It's kind of like some bonus features, I guess. Look at how little and young Harry Potter was. It was fun to watch this series and to watch them grow up, but it was also kind of sad to see them grow up so fast at the same time. If that makes any sense. When you get older, you'll realize that time goes really fast. And when you watch movies like this, when they're little kids in the beginning, and by the end they were, you know, Harry Potter was a full-grown man. You started doing horror movies right after this series. It's pretty scary and sad how fast time goes. Here's part 2, Chamber of Secrets. And Ron Weasley, some excellent characters in this series. Prisoner of Azkaban, Year 3. I think I gave the digital codes away for this one too. Let's take a look at this on the inside here. Sad to say that some of these actors have passed away too. Maggie Smith is gone. I think there's Robbie Coltrane passed away, I believe, a few years ago. Here's part 4, Goblet of Fire. Alan Rickman, who played Snape, he's passed away. Here's part 5, Order of the Phoenix. And can't forget Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore. He was fantastic. What a great actor that guy was. There's a channel here on YouTube that goes through and they'll do like a movie franchise or a television series, and they'll talk about all of the actors and actresses who passed away. And there was a Harry Potter one. It was pretty sad to see how many people have passed away from this franchise, but what a great franchise, and they'll live on forever in these movies. Next one is called The Half-Blood Prince, part 6. Part 7 is Deathly Hallows, Part 1. I saw the first 2 in the movie theater, and I saw the rest of them on DVD and Blu-ray. Here's the last one. This is Part 8. Yeah, it's Year 7, Part 2, so it's actually Part 8 in the franchise. Deathly Hallows, Part 2. This is a timeless franchise, one of the best ever made, and I really love it. So that was the Harry Potter Steelbook 8-film collection box set. I kind of wish I held off and got the 4K, but I'm more than happy with this. And I think the 4K, I think it's probably out of print and I'm guessing it's probably going to be around 300 plus, maybe 400, I don't know. Next, let's jump into one of my favorite television shows of all time. Somebody has been going through on YouTube and uploading a bunch of these old Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson episodes, and they're great. Some of them even have the original commercials in them, and it's so fun to see that stuff. I like the ones from like 72 through 78. In that era, I think those were the best. And you'll see a lot of guys like, the Rat Pack. You'll see Dean and Frank and Joey Bishop, and Don Rickles pops in up a lot. You see early Burt Reynolds, just a lot of classic Hollywood actors and entertainers. This was a box set that was put out, let's see, I don't remember what year this came out, probably early 2000. But let me see, we'll take this apart here. It's a really nice box set. This thing got me through COVID. I was watching a lot of Tonight Show just to kind of keep my mind off of, whatever was going on out in the world. But it's a really nice box set. I thought this was put out by Time Life, but I'm not seeing that logo. But there's 4 different digipacks, and I'll show you what they consist of here. It says 4 decades of the Tonight Show. Look how young he was there. So this is a 3-disc digipack, and in this set you go from 1965 all the way to 1975, and you can see some of the entertainers that were featured on those shows. You got Woody Allen, Bob Uecker, Bette Midler, the Jackson 5, Burt Reynolds, Don Rickles, and these were really, really fun. So that was the first one. Let's see if I can figure out which one was the second youngest here. It looks like this one. So the first one went from 65 to 75. Where does this one go? From 75 to 81. Look at that, you get Jimmy Buffett, Slim Whitman, Walter Cronkite, Sid Caesar, Chevy Chase, Richard Pryor. This was an infamous episode. Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor hated each other, and they were really snarky to each other. They were both on the couch at the same time, and you can just tell that this is a 4-disc set. You can tell that those guys hated each other, but they made it through, and they both had excellent careers. And let's see, the next one must be this one. This one goes from 1985 to 1990. So this must be the very last one then. I believe the last episode was in 1990. Am I wrong? Yeah, I am wrong. No, I mean, I'm right. The last episode was 1990, but this was the 3rd set. That's what I was wrong about. So this one goes from 81 to 85. Robin Williams, Jerry Seinfeld, Betty White, Bill Cosby. Man, some good stuff. Another fact, I don't know if this is a fun fact, but I found out, over the past couple of years of kind of researching Johnny Carson and watching a lot of his shows and stuff, that he hated Bob Hope. Go figure. They just didn't, he thought he was a phony. And I mean, Bob Hope did a lot though. He did a lot for our troops and stuff like that. But Carson did not like him. He thought he was a phony, and for whatever reason, you can see Eddie Murphy there. He just did not like Bob Hope, but he would bring him Bob Hope on the show. He just didn't like him. So that is I don't know if this is the comprehensive set, but it's a pretty damn good set. And I love the Tonight Show, and I'm glad I have this box set. I think I paid about probably 70 for this on eBay. Next thing I want to go through is a Necronomicon that was made by an Etsy seller. I bought this a few years ago. I got it in a plastic bag, but I'm going to take it out. It's pretty cool. It's about the size of like maybe a notebook. And I don't know if you can tell by looking at it, but it's embossed, so you can feel all the dents and divots and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Let me take it out of the plastic and we'll flip through. We'll see if we can get in close and get a better look at the detail here. And of course, you know that the Necronomicon was a movie prop item from the Evil Dead movies. And the book was made out of human skin. Obviously this one isn't. It's not even made out of real leather or anything. It's just like a kind of a different textured paper, but it feels pretty good. And then they went through and they designed it on the inside to make it look like what a Necronomicon would look like. And it looks like it's kind of sloppy, so you can't, I don't know if that's Latin or if it's just kind of a made up language in here, but it's pretty nice. There are some really clever and artsy people at Etsy. Really, really creative people. And I find myself looking for items on Etsy quite often now. Pages are kind of thick and dry to make it feel like it's an old book. I don't know if they sprayed it with some kind of chemical or something, but I mean, pages are supposed to feel dry, right? But I mean, it feels like they're very brittle. So that was the Necronomicon. I better close this thing up before we accidentally release some evil spirits. This is really nice though. Just wanted to share that. This next little stack of goodies here, these are called Monsters Sketchbooks by artist William Stout. And I have the first 6 issues. And most of these, if not all of these, were available to purchase at different Comic-Cons. And you can also order some of these from his website too. Some of them are harder to find now because these are several years old now, but this is Monster Sketchbook number 1. And I'm gonna go through, we're gonna do a little flip. I don't know if we're gonna flip through all of these, but we'll take a little peek at this one so I can show you what it looks like. So I think most of these, if not all of them, are also signed by the artist. So these were limited to $9.50. I got number 886, and you can see William Stout's signature there at the bottom. This one came out in 2000, so it's 25 years already. He dedicated it to his mother. It says it had 50 artists proof. I think I have 1 artist proof in this pile. We'll go through and take a look. I think I do. But William Stout is a phenomenal artist, and he did a lot of work in different comic books over the years, over the decades. And these are just images of his works from over the year. And just look at how amazing and how detailed his artwork is. I have a comic book also signed and slabbed by William Stout. I'll show you that here momentarily. And these things are in really, really good condition too. They're getting harder to find, but I'm sure if you look on eBay, if you keep an eye out on eBay or some of the secondary markets, maybe Mercari or maybe Etsy, you can find these. These are really beautiful. So that's volume 1. Here's volume 2. Out of 950, I got 502. This one came out in 2002. If you want to pause it, you can get a little bit of his biography there. Let's see if I can. He was William Stout is a fanboy too, like the rest of us are. Here's Tarman from, I didn't know that William Stout created Tarman, but he did, according to this down here. Of all the creatures I've created for the movies, Tarman from Return of the Living Dead is the most beloved of horror fans. What a talent. You know, I have zero talent when it comes to drawing, so I really appreciate the art when I see stuff like this. It's like the little monster from, yeah, that's the Zuni fetish doll from the Trilogy of Terror. Creature. London After Midnight. Wow. That's volume 2. Here's sketchbook 3 with Bride on the cover. There's the monster from Demon Knight. This one was limited to 950. I got 810. I thought I had a artist proof. I may not. This one came out in 2011. Was it called Demon Knight or Night of the Demon? I'm kind of thinking about that in my head right now. The monster we saw at the back of the book, I think it's called Night of the Demon. Wow. These books are great. Here's volume 4 from 2013. Number 413 out of 950. That was the original The Thing. That's Wicker Man. That's a creepy movie. And that was Q, the Winged Serpent. Going a little bit too fast here. Larry Cohen movie. Yeah, these are nice. I only have 6. I don't know how many there were total. He may still be doing these. Metaluna Mutant from this island Earth. Here's 5. And I got number 487. Let's see if we can just flip through really quick. This one came out in 2014. These things were so new, I don't even think they were looked at before, other than by me. And the last one that I have is 6. So this one was an artist proof. So I got number 41 out of 50 for artist proof. So it's a little more rare. And this one came out in 2019. So he may have another 1 or 2 out. I'll have to do a little research, and I'll definitely grab another one if I can. This was only 6 years ago for this one, so he may have a couple since this. Was that the Oliver Reed werewolf? Where was that? Where was that? I thought I saw the Oliver Reed werewolf. Hold on one second. There it is. Oliver Reed's character falls prey to the curse of the werewolf, 1961. Great movie. This is from the 1960 movie Brides of Dracula. So really glad to have these. I just wanted to kind of show you these as part of the Variety Hour. Not sure if you guys like anime. I'm sure some of you do, maybe not all of you, but I have gotten into anime more recently. When I say that, I mean probably like in the last 15 years. But before that, I was never really into anime. But there's some really excellent stuff out there. And these next 2 items are from a show called Attack on Titan. And it's a horror anime. It's pretty disturbing, pretty violent. And I have the 2 digibooks, media books. And I think these are kind of rare now. This comes with a lenticular cover. This is part 1, and this is the limited edition part 1, which consists of episodes 1 through 13, and it's a Blu-ray DVD combo. And the lenticular plate doesn't really do anything other than to show 3D depth. But these Titans, they're freaking terrifying. There's some really gross scenes for a cartoon in here. I mean, they rip bodies in half, they rip the heads off of people. It's a very dark and disturbing anime, but it's really good. There's the DVD on top, and that's also a DVD. This was put out by Funimation. And here on the back is the Blu-ray, two Blu-rays. So you get 2 DVDs and 2 Blu-rays. This was just a info card that was on the back of the movie. Be curious to hear if any of you ever watched this. I bought this several years ago. Let me see if it says when this came out. I bought it immediately when it came out, so it's 325 minutes running time, and there's extras that are 104 minutes, which that's pretty significant. That's pretty awesome. But I'm not seeing a year when this was released. Usually they'll tuck it away here on the back in the fine print, but I'm not seeing it. I'm thinking it was probably 10 years ago though. Maybe. Like I said, time slips away from me. I lose track of time. You can see some of the characters. I'm not so sure I ever showed this before, so I thought I'd throw it in for the variety hour. So that was episode 1 through 13. And here is episode 14 through 25. Again, the 3D plate just shows the depth of the scene. The main character's name was Aaron, and he witnesses his mother get destroyed by a Titan, and that's pretty much how the cartoon starts, or the anime. But he witnesses his mother die a very, very gruesome death. And these Titans are weird because they're creepy, because they have these weird smiles on their faces. Let's see if I can show you what one of the Titans looks like. They have these weird, almost like maniacal smiles on their face as they're killing people. They're walking through the towns, just destroying people with these big open-mouthed smiles on their face. It's pretty terrifying. So I'm glad I got these when I did years ago, because I think these are pretty hard to find now. Next is the big box set of Dean Martin celebrity roasts. This is the complete collection in one box set put out by Time Life. And this was another show of who's who. It had all of the biggest legends in Hollywood. Actors, singers, sports players, athletes. And you can see here on the cover that these are just some of the legends that took place, that participated in these Dean Martin roasts. And this is another one you can just kind of put on a Sunday, let it run all day. If you're doing chores in the house, you can just listen to it in the background. But these were hilarious, and the majority of these were clean humor. You don't have to tell dirty jokes or cuss a lot to be funny. Dean Martin was the perfect host for a show like this. He just had a bunch of charisma. You know, he was the man. So you get this pretty thick booklet. We'll go through that in a minute. But you get a bunch of the roasts that come on different fat packs here. Now, I've seen just about every one of these. Some of these are still sealed, but I used to watch these on VHS. And I've seen just about all of these. There was a Frank Sinatra roast that was hilarious. There was a Red Fox roast that was hilarious, and just these guys were great. They all had a great sense of humor. You could see Johnny Carson was in on some. They used to really get down on Sammy, but he had such a great personality and such a great sense of humor that he just let it roll off, and that was part of the charm about this. Is you know, these guys wouldn't get mad. They can laugh at themselves. They didn't take themselves too serious, and you know, they were good sports. There's Jack Benny, Muhammad Ali, Michael Landon, one of my favorites of all time. That guy was a great actor. We lost him way too soon. There's Uncle Milty, Milton Berle, Nipsey Russell, Lucille Ball. Rich Little used to do his impersonations. There's old George Burns, Jimmy Stewart, Henry Fonda, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, Freddie Prinze. We lost him way too soon. He took his own life. He was only in his 20s. Joey Bishop, part of the Rat Pack. See if we can find Frank. John Wayne, Bob Hope, Ronald Reagan. He was the best. Don Rickles, he would go in hard on people. But they would laugh. But he was definitely, he had the most bite. His stung, I think, some of the things that he said, I think, got in the back of their mind like, damn, that's cold. But, you know, they didn't show it. They laughed about it. But Rickles was great. Orson Welles, Wisconsin's own. Foster Brooks, he always played the drunk. There's the beautiful Angie Dickinson. What a gorgeous woman. Surprised they didn't show Frank. Unless they didn't, I just missed it. Look how beautiful she was. What a gorgeous woman. Billy Crystal. Red Fox. One of my all-time favorites. I love Red Fox. So this is definitely worthy of a pickup, for me anyway. I would recommend it to you if you like this kind of stuff. If you like comedy, and it's not necessarily like a vulgar or dirty comment, you know, it's just family fun. That is the Dean Martin Celebrity Roasts Complete Collection. I think there's many different ways you can buy this, but I like this box set because it has everything together in one package. This came out in 2014, Star Vista and Time Life. I can sit and watch this for hours, and I have watched this for hours. Let's open up a couple of the Anchor Bay tins. So I have Maniac, I have the Wicker Man, and I have Halloween 4 on the bed that we're going to open up today. These were put out by Anchor Bay, probably like in the early 2000s. 2001, 2002, 2001. So I have all of the tins, but these are the only 3 that I have open. The other ones are still sealed, and I actually have a Maniac, another Maniac that's sealed. So we'll open this one. I actually have 2 of these. These were limited. You can see here on the back, limited to 5,000. I got number 4431. You get a CD soundtrack in here, which that's probably the coolest thing about this set, and I'll show you why. But there you can see the original poster art. Very brutal movie. You feel like you need a hot shower with bleach when you're done watching this, but let's take the top off and check it out. So on the inside, you can see the lid is just a thin lid. And on the inside, there's kind of a plastic tray where the movie sits on the inside. And there's also an art card or lobby card with some of the advertising from the movie. And it also has the chapter stops here. And you get the DVD. It comes in this jewel case because the jewel case fits right in here. So this is the DVD, and the cool part is the soundtrack. And it's shaped like Joe Spinell's head. It's actually a cutout like his head. It's not a circle. How crazy is that? Have you ever seen anything like that? You can see that it's not affected by the laser because you can see where it's a little bit cloudy on the inside. That's where the tracks are. That's what the laser reads. So out here, it doesn't matter if it's crooked or jagged or uneven, as long as the inside is completely circular. But that's wild. I've never seen anything like that before. And there's the DVD. It just sits in there like so. The art card on top, and the top goes back on. Easy peasy. Great box set. The next one is another cool tin because it's not actually a tin, it's made out of wood, but this was part of the Anchor Bay tin collection. And this is the Wicker Man, and you can see that they use some kind of a burning technique to put the image onto the box. And not all images look the same. Some of them are much darker, some of them are really light. And I think that's kind of a cool little gimmick that they did for this, to put this in this wooden box. Has a little latch on the side. We're going to open that here in a minute. These were limited to 50,000, so that's not very limited at all compared to the Maniac, which was limited to 5,000. This is a huge number. You get two versions of the movie, the theatrical, which runs 88 minutes and it's R, and the extended version, which is 11 minutes longer, 99 minutes, and it's unrated. So given the choice of the two, why wouldn't you watch the unrated? It's a longer movie. So here's a kind of an art card, and it has the chapter stops. That's the extended version. And here's an art card for the theatrical. And here's the chapter stops for the theatrical. So there's two different movies, two different chapter stops. And then you get the movie. Can I get this out? Hold on one second. So you get two discs. The first one is the theatrical cut. And there's a swing tray, and there is the extended version. Movie from 1973. This is a really good movie. I enjoy this. I have never seen the remake, but I do plan to at some point. So it just pops back in there. We put the chapter cards back on top. And this is a pretty cool little gimmicky box set. And then you just put the little latch back down and put this back on your shelf. The next one is Halloween 4, the limited edition, The Return of Michael Myers. There's one that I'm missing, and it's Halloween 5 tin. I just haven't picked it up yet. But this one was limited to 40,000. Well, again, to me, that's not limited. That's a lot. And I got number 8,719. I bought this used on eBay. for about like 20 bucks. This movie's terrible, by the way. I just wanted to have the edition. This one's not as bad as some of the other ones. Yeah, this one's not as bad as 5. I was thinking 5. 5 is terrible. This one's not that bad. Let's see if I can pop this out. So, again, you get kind of a plastic mold tray on the inside, and then you get the disc. It comes in a jewel case. There's only one disc for this one. We already talked about the chapter stops. There's a little leaflet, a little pamphlet here you can read about the movie. So those were my 3 Anchor Bay tins for this little variety show. Maybe in a future episode we'll unwrap some of the ones that I have sealed. So this next box set I bought at a Blockbuster years ago. Probably 15 years ago. You can see this was the old Blockbuster sticker. And I probably did pay that much back then for this too. Blockbuster was always a little high on their prices. This was the 40th anniversary edition, the Ultimate Collector's Edition of Woodstock, 3 Days of Peace and Music. And I thought this was an excellent box set. I love the music. I love the way that this box set looks. There's a little sticker here, a hype sticker. It says 4-hour director's cut, plus over 3 hours of bonus content, including never before seen performances. So these are all of the artists who played at Woodstock: Joan Baez, Canned Heat, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and more. I'm not going to name them all. You can read these. Sly and the Family Stone. Sly just recently passed away about a week or so ago. Some of our legends and heroes are leaving us now. We're getting to that time, getting into that age. Some of our favorite actors and comedians and athletes are leaving. This is kind of a little picture of what you get inside. Comes with this little patch, and it has one of these kind of leather fringy type jackets that some of the hippies used to wear back in the 70s. I don't consider myself a hippie, but I love this music. So this was limited to 140,000, and that's nowhere near limited to me. And I got 58,426. Now this is the DVD edition, and they did have a Blu-ray edition as well, which would probably be a better upgrade, a better way to get this. But when I bought this at the time, this was the only way it was available. Blu-ray wasn't available. So it's a nice hard outer shell. It almost feels like it's wood, and then it's wrapped in this leather, even on the inside. It's a really nice edition. It's beautiful. I doubt this is real leather, though. It feels like it's real leather. It doesn't smell like real leather. I think it's a faux leather, but it looks cool. And here's the box set. Let me see, where is it? So there's a flap on the top. But before we get into it, let's take a look at the box on the outside. So you got Woodstock, 3 Days of Peace and Music. Got some nice imagery there. Let's see when this came out. 2009, this came out. So there's a lot of stuff on the inside here. So the box is nice. It doesn't have to be sturdy because it sits inside that wooden box, but let's see, where do we start? Let's push some of this stuff off to the side. Here is the Life magazine replica. It's a real, obviously it's a really small replica. That's how big it is right there. This is what that Life magazine looked like. 1969 edition. They even have the dollar amount in the upper right corner, $1.25. Look at all these people. Like I say, I don't consider myself a hippie, but those were the times, you know. I would hang around with these people. I don't label myself, you know. I get along with everybody. There's Sly right there. He just died recently. There's John Sebastian from Love and Spoonful, Janis Joplin. Yeah, I would have loved to have gone to this. Look at all that hippie filth from those filthy hippies. I'm kidding. I don't judge. So that was the book. Here's a bonus DVD with the extras. Comes in this little cardboard sleeve here. There's Grace Slick right there in the lower left from Jefferson Airplane. Santana. And there was, what is this? I forgot what this is. This, hold on, let me pause it really quick. This is a weird little kind of a lenticular, I don't know, photo here, I guess. You can see what the grounds looked like prior to the concert, and then you can kind of see how everything's gone amok. Not sure why they decided to add this, but they have it between these two thick pieces of plastic, and there's a little magnets that hold it together. It's very heavy. I'm not sure why they felt like they had to put it behind glass like that. Weird. What is this? Looks like these are photos. Let's pause it and check those out. So this was the little envelope that the pictures came in, and I really like this envelope. I think it looks great. I'm glad they threw that in. And then here was the little stack. People were leaving each other notes. Susan, meet you here Saturday at 11, 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. Artie. Jackie, where are you? Why didn't you call Barbara back? To Cindy with the black hair and sister. I'm sorry I was too untogether to remember to ask for your address. Please call later in the week. Love, Dan. I doubt they ever called Dan. To be honest with you, they probably forgot about Dan too. Nancy, please meet me in front of stage. I have your insulin pills. Dennis. Jeez. Susan, Mitch, Nancy. We are waiting here for you. Hey, Jude, on hill to right of stage as you face Baker. It. Here's a replica ticket for the weekend. You get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 3-day ticket for $24. That's a steal. No refunds. That's a pretty cool little trinket to throw in. And what is this here on the back? 1969 Woodstock Festival in Bethel, New York. That's a little advertisement for the museum that they have there. I'm not sure if it's still standing or not. I've never been there before. And then here's Woodstock, 3 Days of Peace and Love Music Facts. Let's just go through a couple facts. We're not going to read the whole thing, but during the fest for 3 days, there was 1 case of pneumonia, 1 diabetic coma. I hope that wasn't, hold on. I hope it wasn't Nancy, because Dennis had her insulin pills. She may have gone into a diabetic coma. Dear God. The price of 1 hot dog was $1. Price of a loaf of bread and a quart of milk was $1. They're trying to say that they were gouging. Even back in the 60s, people were gouging. Tracheotomies performed, 3. That's when they cut a hole in your throat. 4 miscarriages reported. Let's see. The price for an ounce of marijuana was $15. Number of doctors who treated patients. 18 doctors treated 6,000 patients. 33 people were arrested on drug charges. The shortest waiting time in between acts was 40 minutes. $60 public telephones. 90% of festival attendees smoking marijuana. I'm not sure how they can prove that. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot, but how can they determine it was 90%? The longest waiting in between acts was 2 hours. There was 450 cows left unfenced for 3 days with the campers. 600 portable toilets. 4,062 ticket holders received a refund because they were not able to gain admittance because it was oversold. There was probably a lot of people there that didn't pay too. I'm sure they snuck in. It was not like it was a high security concert back then. 100,000 campers. 250,000 people who never made it to the site. Holy smokes, here, this is one. I bet you people are kicking themselves. There were estimated 320,000 people left before Jimi Hendrix played. $1.3 million collected in advanced sales, and there's many more, but I thought those were pretty interesting stats. And here's the last thing. This is the DVD itself. There's actually 2 DVDs for the concert, so you can kind of read a little bit there of the track listings and the band list. They had Jimi Hendrix way late. See, he played 45, 46, and 47. There he is right there. He played the Star Spangled Banner with his guitar on fire. So that was my little Woodstock box set, and I really love this thing. It's like a little time capsule. You can go back in time and watch this stuff. Better times than we have now, that's for sure. Next, we're going to take a look at a DVD box set 10, which is the 50th anniversary edition of Forbidden Planet. Nice little sci-fi film from the 60s, put up by Warner Home Video. They're calling this the Ultimate Collector's Edition. It comes in this it's almost the size of like a lunch box, lunch pail, but not quite, a little bit smaller. can see all the stuff that comes inside of it. You get a unique metal alloy collector's case that contains a collectible Robbie the Robot action figure. You get Forbidden Planet and the Invisible Boy reproduction lobby cards portfolio. And you also get Forbidden Planet mail-in movie poster offer. It's a 2-disc special edition. So let's take it out and check it out. We'll take another look at it now that the outer little paper sleeve is off. You can see that it's, maybe you can't, but it's embossed, so you can see some of the shapes are kind of sticking out a little bit. This is pretty dusty. It's got a little bit of a dent there on the bottom. I never noticed that before. But that's kind of the problem with these tins. These tins are kind of thin, and I mean, you can almost just see how kind of flimsy, floppy that thing is. Here is the digipack of the movie. You can order a life-sized Robbie the Robot, 7-foot tall replica. Here are some other gift sets you can buy from Warner Home Video. We'll take a look at that in a minute. I like looking at that kind of stuff. And then here's the miniature Robbie the Robot, which I never took out. I'm not going to. It's nicely displayed in there. Just a little tiny guy in there. So here's what the digipack looks like. So take the slipcover off. And that looks great. Looks really, really good. There are the 2 discs. There's the movie Forbidden Planet. And here's the movie The Invisible Boy, 1959, or 1957, sorry. And Forbidden Planet, 1956. You can see some of the chapter stops there for Forbidden Planet. And there's the chapter stops for The Invisible Boy. You can see a young Leslie Nielsen. And here are the lobby cards. There's a lot of them. Take a look at this envelope. It looks really good. Here's a poster replica. You can get a free 27x40 reproduction. I'll probably get one at some point. I'm not sure why I didn't send this in though. I don't even think I knew about it. I don't remember. When did this expire? 2006. I'll probably get one of those posters anyway. I've always wanted to get one for this movie. Here are some of the lobby cards for the Invisible Boy. These sci-fi movies from the 50s and 60s are fantastic. So that was my Forbidden Planet box set. Let's take a look through this MGM catalog here. Warner Brothers, sorry, not MGM, Warner Brothers. Just to kind of see what else is available. There's James Cagney right there. I'm sure you recognize a lot of faces there. Some great stuff, some classic legends. Not so easy to do one-handed, but we always get it done. I want all of these. I want the gangster box set. I want the horror classics. I want King Kong, Tarzan. I just recently got the Val Lewton box set. I have a Marx Brothers box set. I wouldn't mind getting the Errol Flynn stuff. I thought he was great. All right, I'm gonna start putting this stuff back together. That was my Forbidden Planet tin, also with the Invisible Boy. Okay, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. I have this DC Universe box that I want to show a little bit and talk about. I'm going to show you a Texas Chainsaw Massacre box set. I got a couple of DVD box sets that I picked up at a FYE probably a couple years ago, and I have never opened them yet. And I'll end the video showing you guys my graded Vampirella magazines from the 70s. So let's get into the DC Universe. This is the 10th anniversary collection. These are all animated movies from DC. I love this box set. This thing is amazing. I bought this on Amazon a few years ago during a Black Friday sale for a really good price. It was limited to, oops, I had it right the first time, 20,000. I got number 17084. This one has a little damage that happened during shipping, but I just never shipped it or returned it. I'm just going to keep it. But I think a lot of these box sets had damage in the same spot. These are so heavy, and these corners were not really, they didn't really give them a good reinforcement for those. So they look kind of shitty on the side right there, but you can see all the DC superheroes there on the cover. It has a magnet on this flap that kind of holds it in place. And on the inside it has this huge, it's almost like a digibook style packaging. And we'll pull that out. And it also comes with a little, like an episode guide. I think that's what this is, or was it a comic book? I don't remember. Looks like it's a comic book or coloring book. Yeah, it looks like it's a coloring book, but I would never color it. But I think it's cool that they threw it in. I would rather have a little comic book than a coloring book. But and then it came with these coins. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman coins. Oops, almost dropped it. And I mean, this is a really nice set. The exterior of the box had a little damage. Other than that, everything is in mint condition. You can see how they have the discs housed in there. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but what are you gonna do? So these movies were, let's see, we got Superman Doomsday, Batman Gotham Knight, Green Lantern First Flight, Superman Batman Public Enemies, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, and Batman Under the Red Hood, Superman Batman Apocalypse, Superman Shazam, The Return of the Black Adam, and includes the shorts The Spectre, Green Arrow, and Jonah Hex. And on the next page we have All-Star Superman and Green Lantern Emerald Knights. Batman Year One includes the short Catwoman and Justice League Doom. Superman versus the Elite, and Batman The Dark Knight Returns Deluxe Edition Disc 1. Nice to have all these in one box set. I have a few of these on steelbook too, so I kind of doubled and tripled dipped on some of these, but the Batman The Dark Knight Returns Deluxe Edition Disc 2, Superman Unbound, Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. Haven't seen that one yet. Justice League War. Son of Batman, Batman Assault on Arkham, Justice League Throne of Atlantis, and Batman vs. Robin. Justice League Gods and Monsters, Batman Bad Blood, Justice League versus Teen Titans, and Batman The Killing Joke. Justice League Dark, Teen Titans The Judas Contract, Wonder Woman Commemorative Edition, and Batman and Harley Quinn. Justice League The New Frontier Commemorative Edition, and special features. So that was my DC Universe 10th anniversary collection. I really love this thing. I recommend it to everybody. Next up is a box set from Turbine in Germany. It was limited to 1,100 pieces. This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was, I think there was 2 different box sets that were released by Turbine. There was another one that had the armadillo on the cover. I don't have that one. I would like to track that down at some point, but it's like 300 bucks now. So I'm happy with this one in the meantime. And here is the limited number, 1,100. I snuck in at 1089. This was put out in 2015 by Turbine. That's a great cover. You can see the eyeball of Sally Hardesty, and in the reflection you can see Leatherface in tow with his chainsaw. Let me pause it here and we'll take this apart. So this is a pretty cool box. It's pretty sturdy. It's a huge box. It's not practical to put on a shelf, but you can probably put it on top of a shelf as a display piece. It would be beautiful. That's what I do. I have it on top of my media book rack on top of it. This one came with a t-shirt. And it has just different images of Leatherface. It shows different emotions, but the same look. He's sad, he's cheerful, he's proud. It's all the same on his mask. I'm not going to take the shirt out. I'm not going to wear that. And you get the Pretty Woman blister pack. This thing is pretty expensive now, just for this figure alone. It's harder to find this one. You can find it on eBay, but it's pretty expensive now. And then it came with this media book, which this one is sealed. I do have another edition of this, the same thing, and I showed it before in a video, but I'm not going to open this one because I already have it opened in a different edition. This was limited to 5,000. I got number 1089, which was the same number that was on the back of my box, so they correspond. And even though this was limited to 5,000, this only went up to 1,100, but the number matched, so I thought that was pretty cool. And you get a couple of full-size posters. I should probably do something with those. Probably frame them or something. You get some stickers. Here was the little hype sticker that was on the cellophane before I opened it. And you get some lobby cards. We're going to go through all that stuff. And there's a couple of posters, and I'll take those out too. I'll stretch them out so you can see those. But just for now, for the moment, I'm going to put those off to the side. Put these over here, and we'll take a look at some of these lobby cards here. There's a very distraught Sally Hardesty. There's our boy Leatherface. Get a couple of facsimile of the license plate. These are stickers, but I'm not going to stick them on anything. I'm just going to keep them as little mementos. Take a closer look at this figure. This was artwork was done by Nathan Thomas Milliner. They call that the Pretty Woman mask because it's a female's face with makeup on it. I'm going to pause it. We'll stretch out some of these posters. There, that's the same image that was on the box top. I think this poster size is probably about 24 by 36. And here's the second poster. This was the German cover. So I have a couple of box sets that I picked up at a FYE a few years ago now, and I just have never even opened these yet. But you can see at one point FYE had these as $34.99, and I bought it on sale for $9.99 plus a little bit less than that because I have the membership card there. They take a little bit extra off. So this one was called the British Horror Collection from Elite Entertainment, and you get 4 movies in this set. You get 4 bloody good tales of terror from famed producer Richard Gordon. You get Tower of Evil, Inseminoid, Horror Hospital, and Curse of the Voodoo. And they each come in their own case. And let me see if I can find a year when this was released. I'm not seeing it, but we will take the plastic off and take a look at the cases. Take another quick look here at the box. With that plastic off, it looks much better. It looks shinier for some reason. But the case itself is very, very thin and flimsy. And then here's what the cases look like. This is called Curse of the Voodoo. It's a movie from 1964, black and white, unrated. You can see the chapter stops there. A black and white jungle movie. It's also known as The Curse of Simba. And there's the disc. Next one's called Horror Hospital. The operation is a success when the patient dies. Movie from 1973, color, rated R. You can see it looks like it's maybe a little bit gory. And the third one is called Inseminoid, and that looks like a little bell end right there. My battery's getting low. It says I have 20% left, so this is the widescreen edition from 1982. 93 minutes running time, rated R. It looks like this box set was released in 1999. So after I show you this next movie, I'm gonna have to go and charge my phone for a little bit, but you guys won't notice any difference because I'll be right back within a second after this for you. It's probably gonna take me 15 or 20 minutes to recharge this a little bit. So here's Tower of Evil. 1972, rated R, 89 minutes. Some good British horror for you. The Tower of Evil and Seminoid, Horror Hospital, and Curse of the Voodoo. Okay, so we are back and the girls are here. And we're under a little stress because we're hearing fireworks outside. It's about a half hour after my last clip. So I had to go charge my phone a little bit and I got something to eat and now the fireworks are going off. So you're gonna hear some in the background. The dogs are a little bit freaked out, but we'll get through this here. This is a vintage horror, 6 frightening classics from Hollywood's golden age. Collector's Library DVD 6-pack. And in this set, you get The Corpse Vanishes, The Human Monster, The Monster Maker, The Mad Monster, King of the Zombies, and Dead Men Walk. And they all come in their own case. And this was put out by Alpha Video from oldies.com. And there again, you can see a little synopsis from each movie. So I will open this and we'll take a look at the discs. So again, the outer shell is really flimsy, paper thin. But the good thing about this set is they use the older style DVD cases, the real heavy, thick ones, and these are still sealed and they have the, I guess, the security sticker thing on top. I don't know what those are called, but so here's The Corpse Vanishes. Again, I bought this at a FYE probably for about 10 bucks a few years ago. Here's The Human Monster. These movies are fun. These old black and white movies from the 40s and 50s. Here's The Monster Maker. 1944. This set came out in 2002. I like Alpha Video and oldies.com. I think they have some great stuff. This was the Mad Monster, 1942. Two more, and then we'll get into the Vampirella books. Here's King of the Zombies. (1941). And Dead Men Walk. (1943). It looks like it's in color because they have these color stills, but down here it says it's black and white, and this scene is black and white. So, all right, that was my little vintage horror box set. I like these. I think these are really cool. I'm gonna put this away and we'll look at some Vampirella magazines and we will wrap up this variety show. I almost forgot, I told you I was gonna show you the William Stout cover that I had. I showed you the monster books earlier, the signed ones. And I thought I had this signed, but I guess I don't. This was Weird Trips #2, put up by Kitchen Sink Press in 1978. And this was the infamous Ed Gein cover, this was recalled and pulled from shelves, so it was a little harder to find this. But I got a 7.0 graded copy of this, and William Stout was the author, and that was the artist of this. You can see there, it says William Stout cover and art. So he did this cover. Just wanted to show that. And now we will dive into this last portion. And most of these are Vampirella, but not all. This one's called Vampiress Carmella. This is a newer book from 2021 from Warrant Publishing. This is the first issue. It's a graded 9.6. Next one is Fangoria #1 with Godzilla on the cover. This is a 9.2. It still has the Godzilla poster inside. There were, at the time, I don't want to show you the price I paid. I'm not trying to flex. I just keep that for my own records, I guess. So in 9.2, which I have, there's 5 of them, but there were 41 higher graded when I purchased this a couple years ago. Okay, so we're gonna go in order now from the earliest to the latest of what I have, and this is the earliest one I have is #6, which was a 5.5. It was signed by Ken Kelly in 2017, and here's Ken Kelly's signature right there. I should have. I usually keep some info on the back on a little sticky note, but this one must have fell off. The next one I have is Vampirella #15, which came out in January of 1972. It is a 9.2 grade. And the notes that I have for this one, at the time, there were 16 total 9.2s, and there were 27 higher, and that was in July of 2023. This is a great cover right here. This is number 18 from August 1972. This was a second full appearance of Dracula in the title. And at the time, July of 2023, when I purchased this, there were 10 total with a 9.2 grade, and there were 32 higher than that. Next one is number 22 from March of 1973. You got a 9.0 grade. And I purchased this one in August of 23. And at the time, there were 10 that were graded 9.0, and there were 33 with higher grades. Next one is number 23, which was from April of 1973. It got a purple label because it was trimmed. The part of the cover was trimmed apparently, top and bottom. So I got a 7.5 restored grade. I don't have any info on this one. Next is Vampirella number 22 from November of 1973. This is kind of a underwater creature on the cover. It looks really good. It looks like a flesh-eating toad or something. And let's see what this one says. I bought this in July of 23. In 9.0 there was 1. In higher grades there was 19. The next one is Vampirella number 39 from January of 1975. This got a 5.0 grade, but it is signed by Ken Kelly. There's Ken Kelly's signature right there. Ken Kelly did the cover. So let's see, in 5.0 there was 1. In higher grade there was 0. It was called the Top Pop. And I think that's only because there was 1 that was signed for this magazine. It could be more by now. I don't know if people had these out there. I'm not sure if Ken Kelly passed away. I'm going to have to check that out really quick. So Ken Kelly passed away in 2022 at the age of 76. So he's no longer with us. It's nice to have his signature on a couple of these books. Here's another cover signed by Ken Kelly. This is number 40 from March of 1975. You can see there, it says signed by Ken Kelly on back cover. It got a 5.5 grade. And here's where his signature is on the back cover. So this one at the time in July of 24, there was only 1 in 5.5 and there was 0 in higher grade. They called it a Top Pop. Number 41 from April of 1975, got a 9.2 grade. Awesome cover. And I purchased this one in August of 23. And at the time there were 9 graded at 9.2 and 12 that were graded higher. And you can find that information just going to cgc.com, and they have like a little search bar. You can enter your code or your I hate this. I hate it when it doesn't focus. But you can just put your little UPC number or whatever you call that. You put that in the search bar and they'll give you all the information you need. The next one is number 42 from May 1975. Got a 9.2 grade. I think I went a little bit too long with this video. I'm starting to get a little bit irritated. So in 9.2 there were 11 at the time, and higher grades were 21. I bought this in June of 2024. All right, we're gonna go a little faster. I just want to end this now. So we got number 43 from June of 75. It got a 9.2. And at the time, I bought this in June of 24. There were 3 at a 9.2 grade and 12 higher. December of 1975 was number 47. This one got a 7.5 grade. And at the time, this was the only 7.5 graded. There were 23 higher. That was August of 23. Next one is number 48 from January 1976. He had a 9.4 grade. A rat cover issue. And I bought this in May of 24. At the time, there were 5 at a 9.4 grade, and there were 10 graded higher. Next one is number 66 from January 1978. It got a 9.2 grade. This is the Panthera Returns edition. And I bought this one in September of 23. At the time, there were 6 at a 9.2 grade and 11 in a higher grade. We got 3 left, including this one, so we're getting to the end here. This is number 70 from July of 1978. This one was also signed by Ken Kelly. Got an 8.5 grade. You can see Ken Kelly's signature right there. And at the time, there was 1 in an 8.5, 0 in a higher grade. I bought this in July of 2024. The next one here is number 79 from July 1979. Got a 9.2 grade. This is a great cover. So it had 7 total with a 9.2 grade, 32 higher. I bought this in August of 2023. And the last one here, which is probably my favorite cover that I have, or one of my favorite covers for Vampirella. This is the Dracula edition. This was the Canadian variant. This was number 81, but I believe this cover was much earlier in the US run with the same cover here. But this is number 81, the Canadian variant. That's a great cover. It got a 9.2. And let me see. This was the only one that had a 9.2 grade. In higher grade 0, it was Top Pop. I got this in August of 2023. I believe it was the Top Pop only because it was probably at the time the only Canadian variant that was graded. So a lot of things could have happened in the last couple of years. I don't know, but I just wanted to share these with you. I hope you enjoyed the variety show. It went a little bit long today. I think I'm gonna make them shorter next time because I started to kind of run out of energy here at the end. But hopefully, and I doubt anybody's even watching up to this point either. So anyway, wish us luck. These dogs are beside themselves here with the fireworks, which means it's going to be a long night for me because when these dogs get stressed out, they're almost unbearable to be around. Running around the house panting and I don't know. I love the dogs. I just wish they weren't so chicken shit about fireworks. But next year I'm going to get some of that hemp dog chews that will kind of calm them down. And I'm going to have to keep some of that on hand. Anyway, so we're going to wish you good night from the Walnuts compound. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.